Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the No Mustard Podcast. This podcast is brought to you from the purchase of my magazines and art by viewers like you. You can learn more about my work or join the Fast Food Legend newsletter by visiting fastfoodlegend.com. I'd like to introduce my guest this week, Nina Lane, a comedy writer from Los Angeles who produces viral short-form videos on social media under the name Nina Lame. She is currently touring the show Join Me, which is billed as a show about how to pay attention while the world is ending. Welcome, Nina. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Nina, I love your videos, and I especially love the ones with an elaborate setup where the punchline is you either screaming or crying in a car. These are my favorite. So I thought what we would do today is we would look at some fast food parking lots in central Los Angeles, and you can tell me about times you have screamed or cried in your car. If you've never been to these, feel free to elaborate any which way on anything you see, feel, think about when you see the images. Okay?
Okay, got it.
Great. Okay. Let's start with the first one. This is the Taco Bell at La Cienega and Beverly here. This is a very popular one.
Okay.
And let's see, I've lost you there for some reason. Can you see me? Can you see
I can see
anything?
you, I can hear you, and I can
Can
see the
you?
image as well.
Okay, well, that's good. As long as you can see the image,
Mhm.
we'll work with that. All right. Tell me about it.
Okay. Well, the thing that strikes me first, for whatever reason, are the arrows pointing in and out. For one, I can see that like the arrow pointing in is like double printed. It's sort of like they either gave up halfway through or they did it a second time. And I don't know why, but that sort of strikes me as like, oh shoot, let's just do a second pass at this one. But the other one is also faded but doesn't have a second layer. And the car that's the only car that we see in either lane is not obeying either of the arrows, which I love. And one has to wonder if they matter at all because it's like in my mind I'm like, well, those would be for a drive-through, but I don't think that there is one there. There's just a car there. I haven't been to a drive-through, I don't think, in several years. I really can't remember the last time I went to one. Um, but
I think this location has a drive-through, but the parking lot was rearranged to make room for something on the other side.
I see.
I'm almost positive, or it was something like that. Because when I believe when you get to the end of that, there's no exit out the back.
Okay, which is why there would have to be the second arrow directing you to leave out the same side. What else do I notice about this?
Have you been to this one?
I don't think I have actually. What neighborhood is it in?
It's just before the Beverly Center.
I don't think I've been. And in fact, I don't think I've been to talk into a Taco Bell and ordered anything a single time in my life. It's the one
Wow.
fast food that well, not the one, but one that seems to have eluded me for whatever reason. I think probably because it's like if my mom didn't like it, then we wouldn't have gone there, you know? And it's not really her kind of thing.
That's
Uh,
so weird.
I know. Do you have a favorite? I have to ask.
Too. My favorite fast food is Roy Rogers, and my second favorite fast food is Pollo Tropical.
I haven't heard of either of those. Where are they?
So Roy Rogers used to be all over New York City,
Okay.
and they closed, and now they're only in like Maryland, D.C., Virginia area. And Pollo Tropical is all throughout the South. I think there were none in California, but Texas has them, Florida has them. Um, I don't know.
Well, I'm from the DC area and I'm going back there in a couple weeks. I'll have to see if I can find one. A Roy
Oh, there's a Roy
Rogers.
Rogers definitely in driving distance of DC for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
So this is the McDonald's on Vine right near Sunset. As you can see, the old arc light right
Hmm.
behind it, abandoned there. What do we know about this one?
This one, this is in Hollywood.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure I have been to this one. And the last time that I was there, or the second to last time that I was there was a couple within a fascinating age gap situation having what should have been a relationship ending argument at the table right next to us. But it was one of those relationships that you can watch ending, but also like having this mm, like a phoenix like rebirth cycle happening right before your eyes where you see that the relationship is ending, but at the same time it's also this is the beginning of the next phase of the relationship. It's not actually going to go anywhere. The argument was very circular. It was just sort of like, I don't like you, you don't like me, but you knew that they were gonna walk out and leave together and probably return. Um, the the arc light being abandoned is kind of fascinating and a little sad.
It's very sad. I mean,
Yeah.
it should have reopened. I know that people, especially because of the dome, people would really like to see it reopen.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh,
And have you ever done the drive-through here that goes in the ArcLight parking lot?
I have
The
not.
garage? It's
Do
a
you
really
recommend the
weird one.
experience?
100%.
Okay. It's strange to have a drive-through inside like the carcass of something else.
All right, so this is the Chick-fil-A at Western and Santa Monica. Let's have a look at this one.
Hmm.
Tell me what you know about it.
I haven't been to this Chick-fil-A. What I notice or what comes to mind immediately is how far away it actually is from the street and how big the parking lot is. There's something. Oh no, it's not two separate things, but there is a McDonald's right behind it too. You can see it peeking
Yeah,
out.
that's right.
Do they share a parking lot?
No,
Oh, okay. So this parking lot is only for the Chick-fil-A.
that's right.
Interesting.
I mean, do you think this is a good parking lot to scream or cry in? Because
Yes,
even
I
though
would
it's
say yes.
exposed, it's in such a bad neighborhood.
And I would say that probably what makes it a good screaming or crying spot is that it's very presumptive of them to have had this big of a parking lot just for the one structure. So I think that you'd be giving yourself a lot of privacy and a lot of space, assuming that there might not be as many people um going to dine that day. There's also a couple trees you could park under too that gives you a little bit more cover as well. Yeah.
What do you look for in a parking lot when you're going there to cry or scream?
Oh, that is such a good question. And I will say that I've kind of always been someone who has no qualms really about crying in public, like just generally. Um, like when I lived in New York, I would cry on the street all the time because a lot of times people aren't going to stop you, and if they are, then they're trying to help. Um, so for me personally, I'm not necessarily always looking for cover, but if I were trying to seek a little bit of privacy, I will say one of my favorite places to go park and cry is Will Rogers State Beach. Um, Whether or not I even end up getting out of the car to go sit on the beach, that's like one of the best places in the city to cry, in my opinion. Uh, so what it is, I think, is like I'd like to be able to park somewhere and cry, and then maybe have some form of I don't want to say treat, consolation, or anything like that, but sometimes it's good to have a multi-purpose cry. Sometimes. Sometimes you just need to let the cry out, but it's also nice when you can park somewhere and then be like, all right, well, now we'll go into the Chick-fil-A and I'll get a sandwich.
And is there a difference in picking a parking lot to scream or cry for personal reasons and picking a parking lot to scream or cry for video recording?
Oh, that is such a good question. You know what's weird is a lot of times if I'm gonna cry or scream for a video in my car, I'll go somewhere that's I'll usually stay like in my neighborhood. Because then it's like if any of my neighbors see me, hopefully it's someone that I may have, a familiar stranger, and I can just explain to them that I'm recording a video, rather than have some kind of confrontation with a stranger, which, as I said, I love talking to strangers, but sometimes there's certain things that you don't always want to get into. But I don't know. I don't know if there would be a difference. Maybe I think it's like safer sometimes to pick a place where if you're gonna cry for an impersonal reason, somewhere where you wouldn't mind if you got in trouble and they said you can never come back here again. Versus if I was crying there for a personal reason, it might be a place that has significance to me personally.
Let's have a look at this McDonald's on La Brea, just north of the Target, next to the Oprah offices. Tell me about this one.
I've never seen a McDonald's that has this
Cup.
yeah, the cup and the fries.
It's very 90s.
Yeah. The design on the cup is certainly very 90s. Does this one have a play space as well?
I don't believe so. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm sure you've driven past this one a million times.
Yeah. Uh,
But you've never been in this one?
I've never been inside. I think the McDonald's that I've been to, the only one that I've been to more than once is the one in Hollywood where I saw that couple fighting. What's interesting about this one is that the entrance kind of reminds me of like the entrance of a hotel a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, like the sort of like different sort of like sandy kind of colors and that particular kind of roof. It looks like you're going into a place where you might stay for a little bit longer than just a McDonald's.
This one is always like so filthy.
Is it
This
really?
is so disgusting inside. But what's intriguing about it, if you can see in the back there, there is a whole separate enormous parking lot at this McDonald's.
Oh, yes, there is.
Yeah. And
I'm zooming in a little bit
I
now.
picked that one specifically to see if that was a good crying or screaming spot for
Mm.
you.
Well, it's interesting that you have to kind of that the well, I don't have an accessible parking pass, so I would have to drive around to the back to park in that. I'm curious, like this one is a little bit more dense comparing to the Chick-fil-A parking lot that had a lot of open space and probably like, I don't want to be ungenerous, but I would have to say probably is not too often completely full. This one I imagine
It's
gets full pretty
that
quickly.
Chick-fil-A is full all the time.
Oh, really? The parking lot is
Yeah.
full?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
this one I thought this is nice because the rear parking lot is secluded, but it's very convenient because it's so central.
Yeah. Yeah. I would I would say a secluded parking lot is good. Depends on what you're kind
What are you crying about?
yeah, what are you crying about? And I'm thinking now too because I'm not someone like if I'm gonna cry in public, I don't eh, I'm not like looking for somebody to come up and ask me what's wrong, but if you are someone who is, that might be a consideration too, is like do you want to be seen or not? Is the crying just for you or is there an element of performance to it as well? If you're gonna leave your house to cry. Or, well, sometimes you don't always get to choose if you're crying in public or not. Sometimes something will just happen.
This is the In-N-Out in Studio City on Cahuenga near the 101.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So, well, another thing, I used to live in Sherman Oaks, so if I was ever coming from like the east side or anything like that, something really funny about this one, and many In-N-Outs, but it's happened to me especially here several times, is I will end up getting in the line by accident without realizing it, and I'll be like, "What is going on? Like this traffic is crazy." And then I look and I realize I'm actually just 2 blocks out from the In-N-Out, and it's like a Friday night. Um, and the parking lot itself, as with quite a few of the In-N-Outs that I've been to, is not super robust, but the line into the In-N-Out and I guess sort of out of it as well ends up being where I spend a lot of time sitting in my car if I'm near it. Um, I think I've sat and eaten in the parking lot of this one once. I'm trying to think the In-N-Out that but this is an interesting one because also like there's a lot of just like studio kind of stuff. I mean, it's in Studio City, of course, but like random studio stuff around there. And it's not that like the In-N-Out, it's like a weird place for an In-N-Out. It makes a lot of sense to me because it's sort of between a lot of freeways. But it does stick out a little bit. It sticks out a little bit for this location, which also I think is why every time I get stuck in that line, I'm not really expecting it because I wouldn't think to put an In-N-Out. I keep not thinking that the In-N-Out is like right there. It's a lot of like children's dance studios and like I think the Hallmark offices are like down the street as well. Would I cry there? Probably not. I think because there's too many people coming in and out. It doesn't feel appropriate to settle down and cry in a place where it feels disrespectful of everybody else's needs in the situation to to sit down, you know.
Let's have a look at the next location. Okay, this one might be a little bit controversial because it's only a two-location chain and it doesn't have drive-through, so it traditionally breaks my rules as what's considered fast food. But I made an exception because, again, it's a very unique uh, and appropriate for this conversation. This is the Carnies on the Sunset Strip. Tell me about it.
I have been there, or actually, no, I've been to the Studio City Carnies. Um, and I'm actually thinking, did I cry? It was my cousin who moved away from Los Angeles about almost a year ago. It was like one of the last times, that we got dinner together was at Carney's. That setup is so interesting. Again, huge parking lot, small place itself. Which also I think, and maybe this is also like the only two locations and it being sort of an iconic place lends itself to this as well, but it also sort of feels like a place that's almost inappropriate to park yourself and cry because it's too personal. If I were going to park in a McDonald's, it's like, well, there's literally a million of these. Um, there's something like there's something almost like safer in the anonymity of it, but if you're at the Carnies, it's like people are probably there to do their thing to go to Carnies versus like to get there's something different about the experience of going to a place like that than yeah, I wouldn't want to be in anyone's way. But and I think in a way that also kind of goes back to my thing about like the difference between crying or screaming for a video or crying or screaming for personal reasons. Also, it's similar of like, is this a place where I would feel uncomfortable being asked to leave? And I think I would feel more uncomfortable being asked to leave a place like this, like a more of an iconic location than a place that feels less personal.
Okay, this is a really terrible place. This is the Jack in the Box on Fairfax, just a few streets south of the Grove. And it might look
Oh
strange
gosh.
to you because this is from the alleyway behind it, and you see Fairfax where the Jack in the Box sign is on the other
Hmm.
side. But this was the only way to get a good angle at the parking lot. Um, it's really just like one step away from a morgue. Tell me about it.
I would agree with that assessment. Choose freely above the above the
Where's that?
selection on the drive-through. It says choose
Oh,
freely and
choose
then
freely.
the
Yeah.
options. That's brilliant. I don't know that I would cry here. Maybe I would scream here. I think it would provoke a scream more than it would provoke a cry.
I think it might be too dangerous to cry there, right?
What do you think is the worst thing that could happen to somebody crying or screaming in their car?
I don't know because I've never really considered it. I mean, you're the expert. That's why you're on the show, to tell us this
Huh.
kind of thing.
Well, I mean, there are the worst things that could happen to somebody being in a car, in a parked car generally, and we don't even need to get into those. I'm sure the listeners or viewers can imagine. But I guess in terms of like being interrupted, this structure really looks um like from some cautionary tale. It does it does look like you
Oh,
could
it's a fire hazard for sure. Yeah.
I've never eaten a Jack in the Box either. They didn't really have it where I was growing up, I don't think. And I remember reading about some kind of like um E. coli outbreak there when I was younger. So it's like just associated in my mind that that I haven't gone to that particular one, even though I'm just as likely to get sick eating anywhere else probably as I would be there. This parking lot also there's not really, I mean, it does again, it has the arrows and the arrows really like there's a sense of authority to them where it's like they're sort of imposing. There's so many arrows too. There's two
But the drive-through is so narrow. I
yes,
mean, it's
yeah.
one of those ones where it's really just on the edge of your car on either side, coming
a-
out the other way.
Right. And if that minivan were to move like even an inch, it would be you would
Right.
have to swerve a little bit and then if there was somebody parked across from it, then it really is a very narrow. That turn is really tight too.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
This is the Carl's Jr. on Fairfax and Olympic. Tell me about this one.
Is this next to like Dinosaur Coffee? Have you been there?
If this Carl's Jr. is on your right hand side,
Mhm.
and you're driving south. On your left-hand side, out your window, is a Starbucks. And
Oh,
this is one of the Carl's Jr. that I think also has the green burrito and has the big sign for green burrito underneath it if
I
you're on
see.
Olympic.
Only exit only. Okay. The parking lot being detached from the drive-through is interesting, and to me, I guess a preferable choice. This is a parking lot that I would feel more comfortable crying in. I like that it's a little bit detached from the experience of the restaurant itself. Um, I love to engage with the public, of course. I love to see people, talk to people, whatever, and like I said, I don't mind if somebody comes up to try and talk to me or something if I'm crying and screaming. But I don't want to get in anybody's way if they're just trying to eat or park or drive through. So I do like that. I think this would be a good place to record if I had to record in a parking lot.
Little trivia for the fans I have to throw in here. The Starbucks video, the famous Starbucks video I did was made right across the street. And that's how I know this location.
Do you take a lot of the photos that you post yourself or do you find them online?
So the stuff that's on Fast Food Legend now, I would say is 90% Google Maps user photos.
Oh, I love that.
And so I spend 4 or 5 hours a day looking through, I look at hundreds of photos every day, and pull the stuff that I find that's interesting. That's 90% of what it is. Some stuff I take myself,
Mhm.
some stuff people send me, which is nice too. But, and this is a weird thing to even say, and I'm sure uh, only other people in my kind of weird situation might get it. I kind of don't like when people submit things. And the reason is they submit great stuff, right? That you want to use. But you have to make so many videos a day and you're doing so much work a day that when you go to actually post it, it's a big pain to then go back and find the person who sent it to you to give them credit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that becomes like a second job when you're already doing 30 other jobs.
Right.
But sometimes people do send the most incredible things. I have a follower named Samantha Sanders who sent me two different photos that are two of my highest performing videos in the last year.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
Which
so
ones were
whatever
they?
she sends, um, the cookout menu, and I can't remember what the other one was, but I just remember that they were both the two big ones. And and so when she sends stuff, like automatically I just use it and I know it's
Trusted
her.
supplier. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
very, very good with that. So anyway, this is the Chick-fil-A
Hmm.
that is on Sunset and Highland.
I wonder if this one used to be something else. Oh, the cars are right up to not just
This
right
is
up to where people eat, but they're right up to the
this
window.
this is from the Highland side. So you would
Okay.
actually go in the street on the other side, which is like orange or something like that.
Hmm. So you would park out back and then, well, I wonder how far back but I can
Just the
see
one
there's some
street.
umbrellas
Have
on,
you not been to this one?
I have not.
Okay.
I can see that there's some umbrellas also or something
Yeah,
on
it's
the other
seating
side of the
area.
parking,
Yeah.
as well. So I feel like if you're parked in that lot, you'd be sandwiched between two different areas of people, eating.
And that would break your not wanting to bother anybody rule. Is that
I
right?
think so, but it's also occurring to me now that it's like, but this is just because of the kind of stuff that I do, but I know there's a lot of people who, there's something to be said sometimes, um, for something that does disrupt people's public experience. Um, I haven't had the impulse yet, but I never say never to making something like that. I'm not saying that it couldn't be part of my my journey as a content creator at some point to create stuff like that, but I've definitely seen people do that to devastating effect. Um, yeah, very interesting.
Let's look at just one more. This is the Fat Burger in West Hollywood, and I do apologize for the low quality of this photo. It was the best I could find.
This is great. My cousin, who I mentioned before, who left LA, she and I both used to live right down the street from, there was a Fat Burger on the corner of both of our streets. And when I first moved here, she told me about her place before I moved into mine. She was like, when I'm driving and I see the Fat Burger, I know I'm home. And then when I moved into I was staying with her when I first moved here, and when I moved into my apartment, there was also a Fat Burger down the street. I started saying that too. So every time I see a Fat Burger, I think of her. Um, this would be a good place to cry because there's a lot of shade cover. Less, I mean, for that reason, also maybe not the best place to record, depending on the time of day, but a good place to cry for personal reasons. And I have a personal connection to Fatburger. And I kind of don't hate the burger. There's something they do to it. I forget, but they have like a whole thing with it. I don't hate the Fatburger burger. So I might go there, eat, cry, or cry and probably cry and then eat. Is how it usually goes.
Are there any great locations like this in Central LA that I've omitted or that you might want to recommend to people?
In
Or
Central LA. There's let me look at my map. I save a lot of, you know what I save a lot of on my maps is gas stations. I really love gas stations.
Mhm.
Um, so
Have you
Central
been to
LA,
those? Have you been to those designer gas stations?
what are the designer gas
Oh,
stations?
let me. There's a chain of them, and they are stunning. And so I drove around to all of them at one point. Yeah. So you've got the one gas station on La Brea.
Hmm. Or well, it's this is unrelated to the gas stations. There's just a street down there that I think it's like it's not there's some kind of complex like a water treatment plant or something down the street that there's just like something about it that's very like barren. It's like a wide street with metered parking, but no one ever checks the meters, so you can park there for a while. Um, it might be like I don't think it's Wilshire, but it's a pretty big, maybe it is Wilshire. Down by Park La Brea. Anywhere in that area really is a good place to cry if you're if you're there to just cry and then move. But gas stations, my personal favorite gas stations in the city are Sinclair Gas and Conserve Fuel. They usually have good prices. And the Sinclair also, they a lot of times will have a statue of a dinosaur, which is just really, it's really inviting. Um, there's something about that I really like. But I'm very intrigued to see these designer gas
I'm
stations.
going
I,
to
w-
show
I
you
would,
because Sinclair dinosaurs are all over, but these are very unique.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge about where to cry and scream in your
Hmm.
car. And I'm going to put links to all of your socials in the description. Everybody, please check out Nina's videos. They're really, really great.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. And I'll see you next time, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me.